And welcome back to Legal Matters. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me now is Mark Brynteson, the managing attorney with the American law firm. This is a half-hour informational news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. Attorneys are standing by right now to take your call at the number on your screen, 815-394-1776. We'll be able to provide you with free information on your legal issue. The call is confidential. Please remember that. So pick up the phone now and call the American law firm throughout the next hour. Again, the telephone number 815-394-1776. Now, our opening statement will be discussing with Mark the question of insurance coverage as well as medical liens. But first, let's remind you of the multiple practice areas in which the American law firm concentrates. The American law firm can assist you in a variety of legal matters such as divorce and family law, bankruptcy, personal injury claims, criminal, traffic, and DUI issues, wills, trust, and probate matters, real estate and business transactions, and more. So again, please feel free to call and discuss any of these practice areas with the attorney standing by. That number, 815-394-1776. Lawyers are standing by right now to take your call, and again, that call is confidential. So hello, Mark. Welcome to December.
Well, it's good to be back.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving?
I did, a little snow, but
Yeah, well, it just kind of adds to the holiday right there
absolutely,
a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about insurance, and we'll get through the snow because I'm sure that's part of it there as well. Insurance coverage and medical liens. What do people need to know about insurance and personal injury cases?
Well, I'll give you an example of one case had a while back where my client was in a car coming back about 10 o'clock at night, going home with three of his friends. They were high school students, doing everything absolutely correct. And a guy was coming from a bar and crossed over the line and hit him. And they were pretty messed up. My client had a big scar, really filleted open right along the side, and otherwise had some other injuries. When we started looking at insurance coverage, the person in the car that he was in didn't have any insurance. He thought he did, but there was a payment missed, so he didn't have any insurance, so we couldn't go to what's called uninsured motorist coverage. The person that hit him was drunk, didn't have any insurance on his car, so we were looking around, where's some insurance coverage? It's one of those where you have a person that was damaged and needed some help, didn't have any health insurance coverage, a lot of medical bills. They had to stitch the scars up, and there was a lot of plastic surgery treatment that was required, and no source of funds. So he's looking at a lot of money. He's looking at bankruptcy, and he didn't do anything wrong. They were just coming back from a basketball game that night. So we looked around, and the bar had insurance coverage, and there's what's called the Dram Shop Act. And the Dram Shop Act is there to protect people in this circumstance, and the bar had coverage. But the state legislature only allowed that person, or they've set a state statute that said a bar is only responsible or liable to the extent of whatever the state comptroller sets, and in this particular it was $65,000. The damages were much more than $65,000. So that's all they could get. So we had to hunt around and try to find any type of insurance coverages that we could have. On the other end of that is there was some health insurance available, and the health insurance that was available, and they only paid a little bit, wanted to be paid back out of the settlement, and that's called a medical lien. So there's a lot of insurance questions in a personal injury case. If there's no insurance, you have to start looking around for sources of coverage. And I've seen a lot of people where there was absolutely no coverage, and they end up with a lot of medical bills and declare bankruptcy. But the only way that you can find out is get to an attorney so they can start looking for the coverage, and we just happened to find this coverage after about 6 months of investigation.
Wow. So the possibility exists you could go back on that other driver and go against his personal assets?
You could do that, assuming they have any. In that particular case, we did sue the driver. We got a judgment for quite a bit of money. Couldn't get it, but couldn't recover any. But just in case the person wins the lottery in the future or something happens, at least you have the judgment so that you can get some proceeds. But that gives you a little bit of idea of the complexities in a personal injury case. It's not cut and dried. And the insurance company for the bar wasn't going to step up and say, here we are. We had to hunt for like 6 to 8 months to find the coverage, and they wouldn't respond to letters. Even the person that caused the accident didn't respond. So there was a lot of work.
It sounds like it, but that's something that lawyers do.
That's what we do. That's what we get paid for.
That's what you're there. Okay, we're going to come take a quick break right now, and then when we come back, we'll discuss more medical liens and more insurance with Mark Brynteson of the American Law Firm. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me is attorney Mark Brynteson with the American Law Firm. And you're watching Legal Matters, an informational and news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. We have attorneys standing by right now to take your call at the number on your screen. That's 815-394-1776. They'll provide you with free information on your issue, and the call is confidential. So pick up the phone now. Call the American Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, the phone number is 815-394-1776. And Mark, you mentioned it in passing in our previous conversation. We're talking about medical liens. So why don't you explain a little bit more about what is a medical lien?
Certainly. A medical lien, state law usually in every state, except there are a few that have just the opposite law, allows, you're in an accident, you're hurt, your health insurance pays the bills for the treatment. In Illinois, the health insurance company can require you to pay them back what they paid out for the treatment, regarding your injuries. Mm-hmm. And they have a right by law, and if you don't pay them back, they can sue you to get that money back. In addition, a lot of people will have coverage, what's called medical payments coverage on their auto insurance policy. It could be $1,000, $5,000, $25,000 worth of coverage, where that will pay your medical bills even if you're the person at fault. But they will expect to be paid back out of any settlement that you get from the at-fault carrier. So when you settle with the at-fault carrier, the person who caused the accident, when you settle with their insurance company, what's going to end up happening is there's going to be other hands that want their piece of the pie of that settlement. And the attorney can negotiate that down in many cases and put more money in your pocket after the settlement. But if you don't have an attorney and you don't know about medical liens, I'll give you a perfect example. One time, a friend of mine in Virginia was handling a case for a gal, and she actually didn't handle, but she came to him after she had settled. And she had settled for a pretty good amount. But about 3 months after she settled and signed the release with the at-fault carrier, her health insurance company and her MedPay carrier came knocking at the door saying, we want to be paid back. What she had put in her pocket and she thought was hers, she had to pay back to them. So she was not afforded the opportunity to factor that into the settlement. And the insurance company, the at-fault carrier, sure wasn't going to tell her, and because they'd have to pay out more. So she lost. So medical liens are very important, and we talked about the coverages. You can see how an attorney involved in the case can increase your take-home out of the settlement, because we know where to look for coverage, and we also know how to deal with the liens, make sure we negotiate the liens down or what you actually have to pay back, and make sure that we get an increased value in the settlement or number in the settlement to cover that so that you get money in your pocket.
Is that something that most insurance companies and most insurance policies include, or is that something that that the policy holder really needs to investigate?
Well, most people don't know it because it's state law. Okay. You won't find that in the wording of the auto insurance policy. Now, if you're, say for instance, you have Blue Cross Blue Shield for a health insurance carrier, it will be in the thick book, but how many people read through that?
Yeah.
So, but it's something you need to watch out for, and that's why it's good to get to an attorney sooner than later, because we can make sure that we put in place everything that needs to happen to put money into your pocket. When I say money into your pocket, I'm not talking about greed. You have lost wages. You have time, family time that you've lost. You have medical bills and co-pays. So there's a lot of out-of-pockets that you experience. And if you have a broken arm, a broken leg, or you were in the hospital for 2 or 3 months and can't work because of that, you have lost wages. When I say money in your pocket, you got to understand what's being replaced. It's not the lottery. It's replacing what you have lost because of the accident.
Yeah, there are other bills that are outstanding that are not going to be covered by insurance.
That's exactly right, and you need to make sure that you accumulate all of them and you include them in the demand package you present to the insurance company. So this thing where everybody says you're winning the lottery or somebody got a big settlement, hey, ask a mom and dad in a bad baby or a baby that was born because of obstetrician negligence, and the cost for the rest of the life of that child's going to be $1 million, $2 million a year. Ask mom and dad if a $10 million settlement's enough.
Yeah. And the answer they'll give you.
And the answer that it'll give you, yes.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. All right. Thank you very much, Mark, for that. That's very interesting information. And that's a lot of information that people don't understand when you're dealing with car accidents and working with lawyers and settlement. That's why legal representation is so important in that aspect, simply because you know what to look for, you know how to find it.
Well, and what people have to also understand is the insurance companies have lawyers that actually work for them in-house, and then they have the lawyers that work for them in the courtroom that are private. So they're well represented. The insurance adjusters know the law. They know the law, and they know what to tell you and they know what not to tell you. Because a lot of times their compensation or their pay is based on what they don't tell you, because that's less they pay out. They love for you not to go to an attorney and find out what the truth is.
What you don't know.
But attorneys are, we're saying we're at the bottom of a ladder waiting for somebody to fall off to represent. That's not the case. The real ambulance chasers are the insurance adjusters, are the insurance companies. They want to keep you away from the attorney so that you're not fully compensated. And I can show you a bunch of people who settled the case on their own, and they ended up bankrupt because they didn't get all they needed.
Okay. Mark Brynteson, thanks very much. That's
Welcome.
Good information. We'll be back with our closing statement in just a moment.